All right, 1,600 horsepower road switcher, 1,600 horsepower freight passenger A and B unit four-wheel two-motor truck. Description: the truck is fully equalized with four wheels, swinging bolster, swivel type. The swing bolster provides a 2 1/4 inch lateral movement each of the side center, but the additional into the center swivel bearing. There are two friction side bearings facing the wear plate of the cast with the weights of the bolster to ensure stability. The truck spring system consists of the two triple elliptical springs carrying the bolster, which turn rest on the cast steel spring plank suspended from the truck frame and is provided pivoted therefrom by the swing hanger. In addition, with the bolster spring for the truck frame supported with each of the eight triple coil spring nests, which transfer the load through the equalizer to be axle assembly. The axle journal box are mounted with the pedal caster integral truck frame. The boxes may be in plane or roller bearing. The plane bearing there be 1/4 inch of the total lateral movement of each of the axle within the box, provided with the 1/16th of the total movement of the box within the pedestal. With the roller bearing for the Timken or SKF, the total lateral per axle is 1/4 inch obtained with the movement of the boxel and pedestal. Lateral thrust in the plane bearing boxes is taken directly from through the axle end of the stop of each journal box. But with the Timken SKF, the equipment, the thrust is taken directly by the bearing and no end of the thrust is being required. Truck applied with the 1,600 horsepower road switcher to locomotive is applied with the dynamic braking and equipment with the bolster stop to reduce the bolster swing with the 2 1/4 inch to the 1 inch on each side. These stops that can be removed. The same truck then be used in the freight passenger units. The unit is provided in the roller bearing equipment. The truck equipped with the plane bearings are not recommended for use of the freight passenger unit. The brakes are class type double shoe powered 4-cylinder per truck. The cylinder brackets or hanger brackets are cast integral with the truck frame, manually operated with a slack adjuster provided in order to compensate the brake shoe and the wheel wear. The provisions are made for the application of the handbrake of the chain. All right, removal of the axle, wheel, and the box assembly. To remove the axle, the wheel box assembly from the truck and then under the locomotive to the drop table is necessary. Then assume that the equipment is single table type, large enough to handle the complete truck. The uses of the table will require the locomotive to be supported with the jack pads. Using this equipment when the table is lowered to remove the single axle with the wheel box assembly, the truck remains suspended. The safety hooks and the procedure will be as follows: locate the body support under the locomotive jacking pad. Chain the equalizer of the truck frame and the block beneath. 3. Remove the pedestal with the tie bars. 4. To disconnect the motor leads. 5. Disconnect the traction motor, the air ducts from the motor ducts on the 1,600 horsepower road switcher. It may be held on working height with the wiring top of the bottom together through the loops provided in the upper lower plates. Remove the duct on the 1,600 road switcher as soon as the clearance permits. Disconnect any of the journal box attachments such as the speed recorder, speed odometer generators. Remove the foundation brake pull brake bottom pull rods and safety hangers, jack the motor nose, and remove the suspension assembly. See item 8, disassembly of the trucks. 9. Lower the motor until the motor safety lugs rest on the truck frame suspension spring brackets. Allow the drop table to settle in the slow keeping of the motor nose and the jack so that the motor safety lugs will pass through the truck frame lugs. Caution: exercise care with the motor air duct assembly so that they're not to damage it. Caution: lower assembly until the frame of the truck free of the, caution: continue to lower assembly until the free of the truck. All right, reinstall the axle and wheel and box assembly. This operation should be performed practically reverse sequence of the removal. While the axle assembly resting on the drop of the table, the motor correctly positioned the tilted with the nose so that the safety lugs will pass for the frame lugs. Raise the assembly until the safety lugs can be again rest on the top of the frame lugs. Bolt the air duct with the boot of the motor. Install which the easier with a 1,600 horsepower road switcher. Boot is compressed and retained by the wire through the loops provided. 3. Continue the raised assembly in normal position, pedestal applying the caps. 4. Reapply the motor nose, suspension spring, and assembly. See item 12 for the reassembly of the truck. 5. Reapply with the bottom pull rods. 6. Reconnect the motor leads. 7. Reconnect the journal box attachments. 8. Check the brake adjustment. 9. Readjust the sander pipe position. 10. Check the box lubrication packing and assembly for the plane bearing boxes. 11. Bolt the air duct boot into the underframe of the freight passenger locomotive only. Remove the retaining wires that are used in the application of the 1,600 horsepower road switcher. All right, removing the equalizer spring trucks under the locomotive. When lifting the rig overhead crane, remove the pedestal cap from the pedestal on the both sides of the truck with which the springs are to be removed, and disconnect the brake bottom of the pull rods. With the sling from the crane attached with the locomotive lifting lugs, raise the cab until the safety hooks between the cab and the trucks are engaged. See the removal of the truck of the block of the instructions. Continue lifting until the weight is removed from the spring that they are free from the frame pocket. See the pedestal projections and then be nearly contact with the bottom of the equalizer directly over them. D. Remove the coil springs. 2. With the jacks, remove the pedestal cap and disconnect the brake bottom pull rods as soon as in item 1A above. With the jacks under lifting the earth of the truck, which of the springs are to be removed and lift the locomotive approximately 7 inches. The pedestal projection will then be nearly to contact with the bottom of the equalizer directly over the in item 1C above. The C. The removal of the springs. 3. The drop table. The stationary body support may also be used to follow the procedure similar to above. All right, remove the elliptical spring from the trucks under the locomotive. When lifting the regular overhead crane, clamp the elliptical springs to prevent them from going free when unloaded. Remove the bolster, restrain the bars from the truck frame. When the slings of the crane attached to the locomotive lifting lugs nearest the truck, with the springs are being removed, lift the end of the locomotive just enough to allow the clearance between the spring pocket of the bolster and spring band. Jack up the spring blank close to the hanger just enough to take the weight off the plank of the springs and off hanger gibs. Push the hanger or the gib away from the plank until the touch inside the equalizer. Lower the end of the plank. Unseat the spring. Move out of the equalizer as far as possible. G. Jack up the track frame until the spring can be moved out of the equalizer. 2. With jacks, clamp the springs and proceed as lifting the rig above, except the jacks are placed under the locomotive lifting lugs. Drop the table and stationary body support may be used. The following procedure similar to above. Reinstallation of the springs and reverse removal procedure. All right, removal of the truck. Before a complete truck can be removed from beneath the locomotive, it is necessary to relieve the truck of the trucks of the cab. This requires either the strength of the hoist of the jacks to lift the locomotive body, stationary body support used in conjunction with the drop table installation. The jack and lifting diagrams, figure 41, 42, and 43, show the location of the whole unit should be lifted in support of the approximately loads involved. The following precautions should be observed. The wood blocking should be used between the chassis support points and the jacking pad lifting devices. The lifting should be uniform both sides of the cab. Prevent the unnecessary strain of the cab. Structure of the cab should be not lifted excessively more than one end of the other until the body swivel castings have become disengaged from the track, swivel bowl, or in center plate. Before removing the truck with any method, disconnect the safety hooks on one and each side of the locomotive at the end of the bolster, air brake piping, hosing, handbrake chain, sanders, traction motor leads, traction motor, air duct, freight and passenger locomotive only, and any track box attachments. If the truck is not dismantled, lifted, required, it can be reduced to the blocking inserted between the bottom of the journal boxes and pedestal of the bars so that the equalizer springs can be raised. The truck is to be dismantled, clamped the type of the elliptical springs to prevent them from going free when unloaded. Our truck may be removed by one of the 3 different methods: by a drop table, which requires the using of the stationary body support with or lifting rig from an overhead crane; by jacking, lifting in a sufficient amount to disengage the swivel jacking casting to provide a clearance above the truck so that they will be moved moved laterally from beneath the locomotive to the turntable transfer table. When using the jacks to remove the front of the truck on a freight passenger train locomotive, it is necessary to first remove the slide ladder below the operating cab door. All right, 3. By jack or lifting as an item 2 above the sufficient amount to move the truck longitudinal along with the truck track after the raising the cab, significantly allow the truck to pass under the draft gear to the pilot steps and ladders, and uncoupling the rigging support brackets and having the first bend removed. The road switch to the front of the trucking of the freight passenger A must be passenger under the pilot. Reference should be made into the jack lifting diagram, figure 41, 42, 43 for the detailed lifted loads involved. All right, disassembly of the truck. Move all the pedestal tie bars. Remove the bolster, restrain bars from the truck of the frame. The bend of the bolster that may be then lifted out of the frame. Remove the traction motor air duct from the top of the motors. Lift off of the electrical springs. Remove the spring plank. Slide spring plank gibs out of the hanger slides. Loosen the remove of the brake hangers, cross ties. Remove the brake slack adjuster at the bottom of the pull rods. Remove all the motor nose, suspension spring nest as following in figure 4. All right, jack lifting motive sufficiently to compress the meat in the nest approximately 1/2 of an inch. Remove the cotter and tighten the nuts of the spring of the holder of the bolts using the split washer to take the space between the nuts and spring holders. Lower the motor so that the nose lugs are free of the spring nest. Remove the pin keeper to drop the vertical pins. Slide the spring nest out of sideways. All right, and again, raise the motor to provide the clearance for preparatory removing the truck frame. Raise the nose sufficient amount so that the truck frame lugs will clear the motor safety lugs when the frame is lifted upward and off the axle wheel box assemblies. 10. With the crane, raise the truck frame is sufficient to allow the pedestal flange and projections to contact the equalizer. Continue the hoist of the frame until the equalizer ends free of the pockets and seats of the top of the journal boxes. All right, 11. Remove the coil springs on both. Remove the spring seat. Use the pry bar side each with the equalize the truck frame pedestal projection so that they drop at the edge of the journal box. Equalize the pocket. The equalizer resting on the journal box is clear of the pedestal projection. Truck frame may be raised free of the axle wheel of the box assembly. Block the journal box to prevent rotation. Remove all the equalizers. If the truck is being disassembled over a pit, it is possible to remove the motors without disturbing the rest of the truck as follows. Remove the suspension spring of the item 8 proceeding. Remove the gear case with the disregard. Lift the motor nose, the lifting lugs until the suspension being is at the bottom. Unbolt the cap of the remove. Exercise great care in handling the suspension bearings. Bearing the two halves on one half of the removed. Moved with the cap and the half of the removed after the cap is dropped. If not, move the restrainer in half of the bearing with lifting the motor from the axle that will not drop and injure the personnel. Alright, lift motor clear of the axle. Figure 4 shows the traction motor nose support with the pin keepers, the spring holders, spring adjustment holders, and vertical pins. Here's your clearance wear limits. Clearance and wear limits. Your truck side bearing safety hook, your truck center plate, your truck pedestal block plan, swing hanger, truck pedestal elevation, truck pedestal bolster, brake handler, restraint pad. Inspection and maintenance. The following items should be inspected with the compared with the figure 5 with the clearance and wear limits, vertical horizontal steel liners on both body of the truck swivel casting. Alright, pedestal wearing on the face corresponding with the face of the journal housing side bearings, wear plates, the truck bolster, wear plates, both the frame of the bolster, swinging link pins and bushings, brake hanger, restraint bracket, wear plates, see also foundation brakes, the brake hangers, equalizer pins, and bushings, see also foundation brakes. When applying the new liners, be sure all the edges of the round with where they contact other surfaces of the plane with the journal bearing wearing limits following the AAR standard practice of the Interstate Commerce Commission regulation. Follow the roller bearing and refers to manufacturer instructions. 5. Check the lubrication swivel bolt axle bearings. If the plain journal bearings, check the packing. Take all the pipe with the connection. Checking piping. Inspect the motor nosing spring head holders for the wear, and if necessary, replace the wear with the plate. When the truck started, dismantle the spring. Remove the check liners and springs and pockets are badly worn and replaced. Check the wear of the foundation brake equipment as parts of the shown excessive wear. They should be replaced. See the foundation brakes. For the traction motor maintenance, refer to the maintenance instruction motor booklet, MI 2001 traction motor maintenance wheel. When turning the replacing wheels, Interstate Commerce Commission rule requires the diameter of the wheels on the same axle should not vary more than 3/32 of an inch. All right, this is your real axle body assembly, 1600 horsepower road switcher freight passenger A and B units. Your journal centers, you're between the tires, your journals, your journal boxes with the bearings and trucks and. This is equivalent to 2.5 tapes. This other part of the recommendation wheel should not continue in the service at the time. Never the same truck varies more than 1/2 to 12 and 1/2 under the same locomotive in the unit varies more than 1 inch of the 25 tape. The turning of the to replacing the new wheels is recommendation of the wheels should not vary more than 1/2 of the tape of the same exactly 2 tapes of the same truck with the 14 tapes in the same locomotive. 2. When the wheels are checked periodically, wear them in accordance with the ICC regulations. The excessive wear is fine with the check determination, but the brake shoes are free if they're not binding on the flange wheel, the tread, the brake hangers, levers, and hanging true, then they're not causing a misalignment with the true of the wheel tread. If wearing plates with the hanger levers, also brackets have proper clearance, see the foundation brake and inspection maintenance. Alright, D. If the sandpipes or other parts of the free are not following the brake rigging, the preventing of the normal operation, the axle ladder is normal and not excessive by reason of worn pedestal liners, axle, and the excessive variation wheel diameter, see item 1 above. When applying new shoe, they must hang true when the heads of the nuts on the brake and the head pins should be adjusted so that the vibrational shock will not cause the shoe to drag on the wheel, but still permit the face of the shoe to conform to the wheel as wheel progresses. See also foundation on the brakes. For wheel mounting, refer to figures 6 and 7. Alright, your axle gear. The mounting axle gear is based on an interface regardless of the tonnage pressure. The recommended interface fits as follows. Alright, that's your wheel axle bearing, box assembly, road switcher, wheel mounted box assembly, journal box, journal case wedge, dust guard, equalizer wear plate, end stop spacer, axle, end stop felt, axle gear between hubs and between tires. All right, 1600 horsepower road switcher and freight passenger A and B units. The bore of the axle is 991 thousandths plus or minus 1,000 or minus 0,000 of an inch. Diameter axle fits 10 inches or plus or minus 1,000 or minus an inch, 0.0 inch. 1,000 horsepower road switcher bore axle is 9.24 1,000 plus or 1 minus plus or minus 1,000 of an inch. Diameter axle gear fit 250 thousandths plus 1,000 for an inch. For complete axle gear instruction with a 16,000 horsepower road with the freight passenger locomotive, see the maintenance instruction booklet of the MI 2001 freight mode track maintenance and forms. 1,000 horsepower road switcher, the maintenance of the TP 700. Okay, motor suspension bearings. The diameter of axle suspension bearings when new is 9 inches plus or minus 2,000 of an inch. The axle wear may be determined if the following 3 successive diameters underside the replacement bearings obtained. 16,000 horsepower road switcher of the freight passenger A and B, the 938,000 plus or minus 2,000 of an inch. 8.88 and 8 inches, 875,000 plus or minus 2,000 of an inch. 8.813 plus or minus 2,000 of an inch. 1,000 horsepower road switch with the diameter axle suspension bearing when new SRA 8.25 thousandths, 250 thousandths of an inch plus or minus 2 thousandths of an inch. Axle wear on the returning following the 3 successive diameters underside replacement bearings obtained. 8.188 plus or minus 2,000 inch, 8.125 plus or minus 2,000 inch, 8.063 2,000 plus or minus 2,000 inch. For complete axle bearing instructions, 16,000 horsepower road switcher freight passenger locomotive. See the maintenance instruction booklet MI 2000 traction motor maintenance from the 1,000 horsepower road switcher maintenance manual TP 700. See the parts bulletin TRB 1317 for the undersized bearings. Alright, foundation brakes. Manual slack adjusted with their initial just provided 3/8 of an inch shoe release when the new wheels to brake shoe. The setting of the wheel will allow them approximately 2.5 inches of piston travel per brake application. Nuts on the brake of the head pins should be adjusted so that the vibrational shock will not cause the shoe to drag or wear, but shall permit the face of the shoe to conform to the wheel as wear progresses. Replace the following brake of the parts specified with the maximum wear is obtained. Alright, pin bushings when worn 3/64 of an inch radial clearance and normal clearance with the new pin bushing is 1/64 of an inch radial clearance. Hanger levels equalizer thickness of the pins is 1 at 1/8 of an inch. Hangers, frictions, arms, and thickness at the pins are worn 1/16 of an inch. Brake heads or pull rods and slack adjusters which each are all numbered to worn 1/16 of an inch. Hanger equalizer fulcrum brackets pins supported within 1/16 of an inch. Thickness levises and pinholes interlocking surfaces is 1 at 1/8 inch. The brake head when facing the radius between becomes worn to the extent with the new shoes case keep them no longer be hold the shoe tight. The brake shoes would when worn to limit wearing mark indicated on the same wear parts. Wear plates on the hangers and truck frame pads where the clearance between the two becomes 3/16 of an inch. Wear plates on the equalizer sports worn with 1/8 of an inch thickness. Alright, your slack adjuster lubrication. Lubricate regular intervals with the Almite grease filling provided. Rear assembly of the truck. Make certain that the axle wheel and box assembly within the axle have been splined holes in the ends of the using the drive journal box mounted with the equipment such as the speed record, the speed limiter, barometer, transition gear, generators, etc. is positioned with the same way where within the truck was removed with the locomotive. With the traction motor, the nose of the supporting lugs facing inward space, the axle assembly at 9 foot 4 inches center. Raise the motor closed and slightly above the horizontal so that the truck frame will clear when lowered into place of the block in the position. Using a crane suitable sling, place the equalizer journal box so that it rests on the outer edge of the journal box equalizer pockets. The equalizer must be on the top. The pockets are spread as much as possible to each of the boxes so that the pedestal and the projectors may be passed down between them. Alright, with all the brake hanger and swinging links is placed with the truck frame lowered, it is so that the pedestal jaws engage the journal box continue to lower until the frame rests on the boxes. Enter the bottom of the brake of the pull rod pins into the hangers, making sure that all the heads of the toward the equalizer using the pry bar. Drop the equalizer to the journal block into place. The coil spring seat with the proper position between the equalizer, both the seats into place. Drop the pockets of the proper thickness in the liners. Raise truck of the frame and then the pedestal projection contact equalizer, insert the coil springs, or apply the upper liner to lower the truck frame onto the coil springs, apply with the pedestal tie bars. Um, Place the spring back plank of the gib of the swing hanger slots applied with the springs plank seats, wear plates, and the gibs. Lower the spring plank into the position and lower the elliptical springs into the position. The spring plank lower the bolsters onto the elliptical springs. Unless the elliptical springs had been compressed and clamped before application, the bolster restraint bar cannot be applied until the locomotive cab weight is placed on the swivel bolt. Apply the slack adjusters to the outer bracket. The hangers connect to the bottom of the pull rods. Apply the hanger to the cross tie bars. Lower the traction motor nose that the suspension spring nesting may be slid in between the lugs of the motor frame. Push the vertical pins into the spring nest from the bottom and then apply the pin keeper to the truck. Is not assembled over the pit. It will necessarily lead to raise the truck in the order of the insert of the suspension pins. Note, when the suspension spring nest is in position before the further lowering the motors, back off the position with the spring holder bolts to remove the spring splasher, split washer until the spring holders are fully expanded between the frame lugs, and then back off the nuts quarter of an inch further and insert the cotters. Lower the traction motor nose until the lugs rest on the suspension. Reapply the motor on the air duct bolts. Reapply the loose horizontal liner in the swivel bowl. Reapplication of the truck locomotive. As the previously mentioned method, the truck removal can be employed to reapply in the following sequence of the procedure. Fill the swivel bowl with oil approximately 1/2 inch over the horizontal liner. Position the truck under the locomotive cab over the swivel bowls to line up with the cab center plate and the axle-driven equipment, such as the speedometer, generator, speed reorder devices, etc., are correctly located. Lower the cab to the locomotive, or lower the cab to the truck. Raise the truck to the cab, taking the care of the guide to the center plate into the truck swivel bowl without jamming it. Apply the center plate with the dust seal with the check of the tighten if there's already on the center plate. Apply the bolster restraint bars. Reapply the air brake pipe housing. Block the traction motor air duct boot under the frame. Freight passenger car, passenger locomotives only. Assembly side bearing safety hooks. Connect the hard brake chains. Connect the traction motor leads. Adjust the brakes. C-foundation brakes. Connect any journal boxing attachments such as the speedometer generators, speed recorder, drivers, etc. Check the lubrication, packing the plane bearings if the journal boxes. Connect the sander hose and adjust the pipes and rail. Connect the center plate of the oil pipe at the 1,000 horsepower, 1,600 horsepower road switcher. Remove all the tools, rags, and blocking equipment. Meets and maybe truck the chassis. Adjust the center plate height. When it becomes necessary to raise the center plate height to compensate for the warm wheels, it may be done as follows. The 1/4 inch thickness liner may be applied with a helical spring pocket with the bolt bottom on the top of the frame. The 1/2 inch liner may be applied with the truck swivel bolt under the loose horizontal wear plate, which when it is done with the side bearing safety hook must be adjusted accordingly. Alright, 1,600 horsepower road switcher and 1,600 horsepower freight passenger A and B unit, 6-wheel, 2-motor truck.